Right now, the internet is flooded with fake news, and your feed is packed with the same warning on repeat that sometime in 2025, Washington will dust off the old gold confiscation playbook, that a fresh executive order will quietly bring back EO 6102 in everything but name, and that the coins and bars you hold in the open today could be ordered in at a government price tomorrow. The story goes further. It says, dealers have already handed over their customer lists, that banks are ready to drill boxes, that some secret document proves a full rerun of 1933 is baked in, and that if you hold gold in the open, you are already on a confiscation list. Here is what we are going to do instead of panic. We are going to put the actual EO 6102 history on the table. We are going to put the current IRS rules on gold and the 2026 guidance next to it, and we are going to see what still stands when you read what is really written there. Before we get into it, you should know who you are listening to. I am not a bullion sales rep trying to scare you into a rush order. I am not a doom channel fishing for ad clicks. I spent more than 12 years inside the world of sovereign balance sheets and reserves at the International Monetary Fund, working on how governments actually treat gold and foreign assets when they are under pressure. My job was to brief ministers and central bankers on what is realistic, what is dangerous, and what is noise. And now I am going to walk you through this the same way I would in a closed briefing, just in plain language. So let us take apart the myth piece by piece. The fear script claims three things. It claims that a new EO 6102 style order is imminent. It claims that safe deposit boxes will be frozen and emptied. And it claims that dealer and broker reporting means the state is quietly tagging you for a future grab. If any of that were true, you would expect to see it hinted at in the legal and tax machinery that already exists. To see why this does not line up with reality, we need to be honest about what happened in the 1930s. Back then, the United States was on a formal gold standard. The dollar was legally defined as a claim on a fixed weight of gold. Banks and the monetary system relied on gold reserves as the core asset behind the currency. In that world, letting people hoard gold outside the system was a direct threat to the functioning of the currency. EO 6102 was written in that context. It ordered most private gold coin, bullion, and certificates to be delivered to the banking system in exchange for dollars at the official price. Even then, it was not the cartoon version you see online. There were exemptions for small amounts of gold, for jewelry and industrial uses, and for certain genuinely rare coins. The order was controversial. It was challenged. It was public. It was not some secret midnight raid on every household safe. After the order, the official price of gold was raised, which devalued the dollar and left those who had complied feeling cheated. That feeling is real, and it is exactly what modern fear merchants lean on. Now fast forward to today. The United States is not on a gold standard. The dollar is not legally tied to a fixed weight of gold. The banking system does not rest on gold reserves in the way it did before the 1970s. Gold is still a reserve asset for central banks, but it sits alongside government bonds and other instruments as one line on a big balance sheet. Seizing retail coins and bars does not suddenly fix the structure of the modern monetary system. It just creates a political firestorm for very little mechanical gain. So if you are in government in 2026 and you want more of the private sector's wealth, you do not need to send anyone to drill boxes. You already have a cleaner weapon: the tax code. This is where the IRS comes in. When you actually read their publications and forms, you do not see anything about a new hand in order. You see a tax authority that treats most physical gold and silver held as coins or bars in taxable accounts as collectibles, that taxes gains at a higher maximum rate than regular long-term stock gains, and that requires certain dealers and brokers to report large transactions. Gains that are held less than about a year are taxed as ordinary income. Gains that are held longer fall under the collectible rules in many cases. All of this is laid out in public IRS guidance on capital gains, on collectibles, and on reportable transactions. The same is true for the reporting side. Certain cash purchases and sales above particular thresholds generate forms. Certain types of bullion trades trigger dealer reporting. Forms go to the IRS and to the customer. The stated purpose is to make tax evasion and money laundering harder. The state is not hiding that it wants visibility. It is telling you directly that it wants visibility so that it can tax gains and monitor suspicious flows. The leap from visibility to confiscation happens in the imagination, not in the statute. The fear script takes the existence of a report and says this is a confiscation list. It takes the fact that a dealer knows your name and address and says that means a raid is on the calendar. It takes the reality that governments like to tax profitable trades and dresses it up as a plan to seize the asset itself. Once you see that rhetorical jump, it becomes much harder to fall for it again. That does not mean there is no risk in owning gold. It means the real risk looks different from the thumbnail you were shown. The practical risk that bites the most ordinary investors in 2026 is tax and structure risk. People buy gold as a crisis hedge and assume it sits outside the normal system. Then they discover that when they sell, the gain is taxed at a higher collectible rate in their taxable account, or that a sale in a particular year pushes them into a surtax on investment income, or that the mix between their retirement accounts and their taxable accounts leaves them with a bill they never modeled. The metal did what they wanted in price terms. The net result after tax did not match the fantasy. There is another quiet risk. Liquidity and friction. Some products are simple, low premium, widely recognized coins and bars that trade close to the spot price. Others carry hefty markups when you buy and painful discounts when you sell. Many investors never check that spread in both directions. They walk in paying a large premium because the marketing is slick. And when they try to exit in a hurry, they discover that the market does not share their dealer's enthusiasm for that format. So here is a simple 1-minute fix you can start with. No drama, just clarity. Write down every way you hold gold, physical coins and bars in your own possession, vaulted or allocated metal with a third party, exchange-traded funds backed by bullion, and mining stocks or funds. For each line, note where it lives. A regular taxable account in your own name, a tax-advantaged retirement account, a corporate or trust wrapper, or outside your home jurisdiction. Then ask one direct question for each holding. If I sold this in 2026, how would the gain be taxed under current IRS rules? As a collectible gain, as a standard capital gain, or under some special rule? If you do not know, that is your first job to find out before you need to sell. Once you have that map, you can decide whether to rebalance. Maybe you want less exposure to the higher collectible rate in taxable accounts and more exposure through vehicles that are treated like regular capital assets. Maybe you want to shift from high-premium niche products into more liquid ones. Maybe you want to rethink storing everything in one jurisdiction. The point is, you are controlling the part of the risk that is real and documented, not the movie script version. None of this requires you to love or hate gold. Gold has a long record as a hedge against certain combinations of inflation, currency instability, and political drama. It also has long stretches of going nowhere in real terms. It can protect wealth in some regimes and disappoint in others. If you treat it as a tool with specific strengths and weaknesses, you will make better decisions than someone who treats it as either sacred or cursed. So where do we land on the 2025 EO 6102 repeat story? The original order was a drastic response in a gold standard world that no longer exists. Today, the monetary system works differently, the incentives are different, and the cost-benefit calculation of seizing small investor gold is completely different. The IRS in 2026 is focused on knowing when you make money on gold and taxing that gain inside the existing framework, not on writing a secret hand in decree and hiding it inside a collectibles instruction booklet. The people shouting confiscation are using a real historical wound and a real distrust of government, but they are skipping over the boring, documented part where the state's favorite lever is almost always the tax code, not a vault raid. Your job is not to ignore risk. It is to put your attention on the risk that is actually visible in the rules that exist. If you want more breakdowns like this, where we take a viral fear, pull the original documents, and walk through what is really in them, subscribe so you do not have to guess what is true the next time someone tells you a seizure is guaranteed. And drop your biggest gold and precious metals questions for 2026 in the comments so we can put those claims under the same microscope.